Welcome peers. Today, our group will be taking a look at the different type of clothing represented in Japan and comparing it to Canada. This presentation is created by John Borillo, Justin Tsai, and Renz Campajeos. The breakdown for our presentation will begin with a brief introduction, followed by a comparison of clothing in Canada and Japan with three different settings. These settings include casual clothing, which will be covered by Renz, dressing for work, which is covered by John, and traditional and wedding clothing covered by Justin. Then we will end with a conclusion as well as the references used in our presentation. Many times, we may forget that clothing plays a very important part in our identity. In fact, it may be the very first part of our appearance that someone sees. What we wear reflects the cultures we are part of. The type of clothing we wear varies between many different cultures. These cultures can include the country you're from, the religion you're a part of, your interests, and hobbies. And to add, a quote by the writers at Textile School says, "By studying the clothing of different periods in history, you can understand the customs, beliefs, values, economics, and technology of that time." Now, we will be comparing the clothing in Japan and Canada in these three different settings.
Casual clothing. An outfit that can be informal, comfortable, yet well put together. Influence. Casual attire in Japan has evolved for almost a century, ever since its major influence by Western fashion dating all the way back to the late 1800s, the Meiji era, from 1869 to 1912. During that era, men would wear Western clothing strictly for business. Western fashion became increasingly popular throughout Japan as time passed. Since then, Japan developed a style of its own for casual clothing and can be seen in many variations today. The most common styles are listed as below: streetwear, layering, and baggy silhouettes. To begin, we have streetwear fashion. According to Zeitgeist, a Brooklyn-based streetwear fashion brand, says streetwear can be defined as fashionable, casual clothing worn by followers of popular culture. This style of fashion became popular in Japan in the 60s. Writer of Lippy magazine, Jane Pipkin, said, "American influence was rampant. The biker style, vintage style, alongside the music and popular culture, all inspired the ways that the Japanese dressed." This is the most common and well-known form of fashion in Japan. Since then, the country became an icon for creating its own style of streetwear after the influences from Western countries. And the country has been able to create variations of streetwear such as skatewear, techwear, preppy, and athleisure. We can see an example of streetwear on the right side with two different styles. One picture has an athleisure, comfortable attire, whereas the other picture has a hybrid of varying American-inspired pieces put together into a stylish outfit. Another well-known style of fashion in Japan is layered clothing. This is due to the fact that it is an iconic trait of traditional fashion in the country. For example, the kimono, which would make sense as to why they would love layering different clothes, whether it is in the winter or summer. In addition, Japanese fashion favors neutral, earthy tones of color along with their layered clothing. So colors of the grayscale, their browns, and greens. Neutral colors symbolize purity and simplicity. Let's take the picture on the left as an example. The two gentlemen use different shades of beige combined with a dark color such as navy blue or black. And now the entire outfit looks simple, without any popping or bright colors. Yet it is very well thought out and a put-together casual style. Lastly, Japanese wear baggy or non-fitting clothing to achieve a baggy silhouette. Their culture is about modesty, which can be displayed with Japanese traditional clothing, clothes that fully cover the body. Furthermore, in modern Japanese fashion, this conservative style is still very common and can be seen in different perspectives. One may be due to the cultural influence of modesty or following the current fashion trends. In the photo to the right is an example of a baggy silhouette attire, based on a stylistic choice created with a mix of cool tones and a bright color accent, an influence from pop culture fashion. And now for casual clothing in Canada. Casual attire in Canada is very similar when compared to Japan. According to a staff writer from reference.com, due to the proliferation of Hollywood movies and cultural globalization, Canada essentially has the same fashion as the United States with some of its own distinct clothing. Fashion in Canada mixes modern and vintage styles to create many street-style looks inspired by fashion of the 80s and 90s. Like Japan, Canada also wears the different styles of streetwear as listed previously in the Japanese casual clothing slides. To sum up, the main difference between the two countries' fashion is that Canada is less colorful and inventive than Japanese fashion. As stated earlier, Japan is a fashion icon worldwide, and so Japanese fashion is seen as more expressive because of the many experimental looks put together with bright colors and style of each piece of clothing.
And now we'll be discussing the appropriate attire for work. At office-related workplaces, men usually wear a simple business attire, this being a suit. The suit can either be black or dark colors like gray or navy, though black is usually the color of choice for most. Lighter colors may be viable options but are usually avoided as a darker suit is a code for respect. To add, other non-neutral colors like burgundy are also avoided. As for the hair, according to the article created by the organization Plaza Homes, they stated that men in Japan tend to keep their hair short and neat, giving off a much cleaner appearance. And as for the shoes, simple black or brown leather shoes work. For women, their work attire may not be as straightforward. Although they can also wear suits, it may not be a preferred option for all women. Women are expected to keep their shoulders covered, avoid flaunting their cleavage, and to be mindful of their collarbone, as they are considered attractive in Japan. In addition, keeping a spare blazer or light cardigan in the office is ideal during the summer months, as the air conditioning is usually turned up very high. When wearing dresses or skirts, they should be at knee length. Clothing that defines your body shape, so for example yoga pants and leggings, these clothing tend to be considered informal, despite being alright in other countries. Other clothing, such as ripped jeans and shorts, are also considered to be informal for both men and women. Wearing a suit is an easy route to go when dressing for work, but when wearing black suits, avoid combining them with a string of pearls, as this is a type of attire used at funerals. Open-toed shoes, flip-flops, and sandals are not appropriate for office wear. Even more formal open-toed shoes, such as heels that reveal your toes, are still considered not appropriate. Traditional footwear such as geta and zori are also not appropriate in the office. It is best to stick with closed-toe footwear like heels, flats, shoes, and etc. At times when you're needed to enter a tatami room, walking barefoot on tatami is considered rude if it is not your home. To add, it is best to stick with more neutral colors at the workplace, as overly distinct colors tend to be distracting in a work environment. This can also be said with jewelry. Subtle jewelry such as necklaces, earrings, and rings are okay, but avoid flashy over-the-top jewelry as this will cause a bad impression. To add, avoid sunglasses as this depicts you to be too casual and can possibly make you look like a member of the Yakuza. And as for the makeup, while this may not be true in other countries, in Japan, in some cases, not wearing makeup may be considered rude as it shows your laziness and your lack of effort in your job. Large amount of makeup is not expected, just a decent amount to enhance your appearance and demonstrate your effort for the job. And as for the hair, it is best to keep a clean, natural hairstyle, especially for the employees who often deal with clients and are in the public more. For the most part, avoid drastic hair color styles and stick with more neutral and natural colors. For individuals in Japan who are looking to work or looking to work for their first job, the recruitment suit is worn by those who have little to no work experience. The recruitment suit consists of a black blazer with matching dress pants, along with a button-up collared white shirt underneath. The blazer may sometimes be other dark shades of black, such as charcoal gray or navy. In addition, the blazer may have 1 to 3 buttons depending on the preference of the individual. For women, they have the option to choose either dress pants with their blazer or a skirt. To add, for women who decide to wear skirts, the color of the stockings should be nude, opposed to other darker colors such as black, as black may seem provocative or funeral attire. For the footwear, men should wear simple black or brown leather shoes, and for the women, simple heels work. And again, for both men and women, a clean, natural hairstyle is preferred. Dyed hair is okay if not over the top. And light, natural makeup is also preferred, as no makeup makes you look unprofessional. Now, comparing the dressing for work clothing in Canada, according to an article by author Pat Bohr, men should wear a simple business casual attire that consists of a conservative suit, a long sleeve shirt, a tie, and leather shoes. Bohr also adds that a tie may not be necessary, and neutral color pants such as black, gray, or khaki pants are all good options. Bohr continues with describing the business casual tie for women, which consists of a dress, skirt, and blouse. In addition, women can wear slacks in place of a dress or skirt. As for the shoes, flat heels are allowed. Unlike Japan, where most people stuck with neutral colors for their tops, such as white, black, or gray, in Canada, the long sleeve shirt or blouse can be other colors as long as it is not distracting. And to add, this business casual attire also applies to individuals who are attending an interview.
Traditional and wedding clothing in Japan. The kimono in Japan is what is usually known to be the traditional clothes people would wear since it's been around for thousands of years. Ever since the Japanese Heian period, these traditional clothes were also thought to be based on gender, season, or sometimes family ties. Kimonos would also become art-related and could be worth about a family home. When it comes to women's wedding clothes, what they use as tradition is called a shirumuku. The shirumuku is usually all white and would also signify pureness and cleanliness. For men's traditional wedding outfit, it's what you would call a monsuki, which is a black kimono with a crest on it. On the slide, you can also read the many components that can make up a monsuki. The traditional clothes in Canada is what was usually worn in the 17th to 18th century, that being made of wigs, rich fabrics, and elegant lace. Men also tend to wear breeches, which was below the knee shorts. Women would also wear very long skirts back then. This concludes our presentation about the attire of both Canada and Japan. We hope you were able to see the big differences, or maybe even just like some sort of differences between both countries. And below should be all of our references used in making our presentation. Thank you for listening.